Good morning. It's Wellness Wednesday. I hope you are well, and bear with me. Something is looking a little bit weird on my screen, but I hope you can hear me now because it says that I am live. So Wellness Wednesday, and I do hope you're well wherever you are. Today I want to have a little chat with you about the magic that happens when we collaborate with people who align with our values. I talk about values in my book, and it's becoming quite a trendy and popular topic to discuss in mainstream, business and personal development these days. And on page 16 of my book, I list, what are my values here. And I say integrity, helping, not letting people down, and accountability. So I shared this in my book to kind of demonstrate that those virtues are my core values. And whilst throughout my life, I've measured most of my experience by those in terms of if I was not practicing them or if they were being practiced towards me and so on and so forth. So a lot of experiences in my life have been driven by my core values. But interestingly, I realize as well that if I'm not practicing my core values and I'm not aligned with my core values, then I'm not attracting people to me who are not aligned with my core values either. And since I've come to a really deep understanding about how our values affect all of our interactions in our life, I've started to notice a lot of magical things happening. So I'll just give an example of the value of helping. So I love helping people, and when I was a 5-year-old, I read a book called Helping Hilda, and I thought Helping Hilda was the most virtuous child in the world, and I wanted to be just like Hilda. So I think from that age I adopted the value of helping. I love helping people, and it's kind of my reason for being. And I'm not necessarily motivated by money. Don't get me wrong, I like money. I'm brilliant at spending money, but generally it's not a motivating factor for me when I'm making a decision to do something or not. So usually when anyone asks me for help, I always just say yes. I say yes, and then I find a way to help them. And sometimes it might be an introduction, or creating something to support them, or reading their manuscript and giving them feedback on it, or introducing them to someone somewhere that knows something that they might need to know. So I always find a way to help people whenever they ask me. And throughout my life, and I can give many examples of this, if people haven't, I've been left disappointed by people that I might never hear from them again. It turns out they're not as nice as I thought they were, or they're just not really grateful for the effort that I have gone to. I find that deeply unsettling. And I've had to kind of reconcile why that is. And I've had many experiences of that in my life, and it's just not nice. But here's the thing, and it's a really big but. Whilst I love helping others, I've always been absolutely rubbish at asking for help. I just don't do it unless I'm completely in a jam. And I realized this about 2 years ago, in fact, when I was writing my book, that I'm absolutely rubbish at asking for help, even though helping is one of my core values. So, often if I did ask someone for help at the last minute, or when I felt like I was in a jam with no options, then I'd feel immensely guilty about it. So, I've realized this about myself, and it's helped me make sense of a lot of stuff in the past few years. But I also decided that if my core value is helping, and I don't ask for help, or I don't help myself first, then I'm not role modeling my values. So I won't attract people that are also helpful. I'll attract unhelpful people, or people that like to take and take and take all my help but don't give me any help, which is interesting. So I can see there where I was, selling myself short on the helping value. So as I said, in the past 18 months, 2 years, I've been practicing asking for help. I've practiced helping myself first. And now, as if by magic, I'm starting to attract people who want to help me. And then what I'm seeing now is very clear that their values align with mine. And that's then magical stuff starts to happen. And here's an example of that. So I want to be better at organizing my finances because I'm not necessarily motivated by money. and I still have a life in the UK, and now I have a life here as well, and I have to submit 2 tax returns each year at different times, usually one before Christmas, which is painful, and one in the middle of the year, which is painful, and it's just painful because I don't love it, to be honest. And on top of that, with my books and my workshops and my retreats, I'm generating income from all different places in little bitty bits amounts, and I'm receiving up to 4 different royalty payments from around the world each month, as well as any daily or weekly transactions that I'm doing through book sales and invoicing. So it was starting to feel a bit overwhelming, because I thought, how am I going to get on top of this, and how am I going to make it easy and less painful in the future? So I started asking for help. So I asked 2 people, and one on face value looked like she would be the right person, but then she took ages to get back to me. And the other person, who I met randomly, who came back to me immediately and has already in 1 week done so much to help me, I'm feeling super confident that I'm going to get on top of it. And she has expressed a desire to help me, and given the work that I do, would like me to help her. So it's interesting, because now I have this new relationship with someone who it's very clear that my values are aligned with hers, and she wants to help, and I need help, and I want to help. And on top of that, we don't need to worry about the money, because we're both there to help each other. So it's kind of a win-win, and this feels completely magical to me. So that's a little example of how aligning with our values and magical things happen. Working with people who align with our values, magic can happen. Partnering people, collaborating people, and having friendships that align with our values start to really pay a lot of dividends, because the transaction is not messy or uncomplicated, and we're not doing things that are against our values. So that's really important, and I think for me a huge part of my well-being. So in the past few weeks, I've been interviewing amazing people from all over the world for my wellness school. And yesterday I zoomed off to America to interview Lawrence Duchin. And Lawrence Duchin published a book on fear. And I've shared that interview with my closed group, and it's called The Book on Fear, Feeling Safe in a Challenging World. Lawrence and I talked a little bit about that, and I asked him how he became an expert on fear. And I tried not to make light of it, because it is a very serious topic, but we did giggle a little bit, because we talked about how, to become an expert on fear, mostly through his own lived experience. And, and that's true for me as well. You become an expert on something either through going and studying it or through living it. And if you study it and research it and live it, then it's probably even more powerful. So, most of the people I've been interviewing for my wellness school have lived experience in their area of expertise, which makes them immensely valuable resources for people like you and me, because then not only do they understand what we may be going through, but they've also developed tools and as well as expertise to kind of overcome that challenge. So, that's immensely powerful to have that resource available to us, and which is why I want to make it available to others. And someone made a comment about my book the other day, saying, "Oh, your book about you." And it felt like a little bit of a dig at me, to be honest, but I kind of smiled and said, well, it's not just a book about me, actually, but I share my experiences as well as anecdotal stories from people all over the world, and I support it with stats and facts and from a whole range of different sources. So, it doesn't mean that my book will resonate with everyone. And in the same way that I learn a lot from a range of different sources, I'm sharing my experience to help and support others, which again, aligns with my core values. So, most people that have written their own books will include aspects of their experience in it if they have lived experience in that particular area. If they've not had lived experience in that particular area, then they're going to shy away from putting anything of themselves into their book. So it's a very interesting process when you think about it. So that was the main things I wanted to share with you. This morning, after this, I'm zooming off to America again, and I've been invited to sit on the author's porch virtually, of course. So I'm really excited about this, and funnily enough, this introduction to the author's porch team came from a lady I met online last year who interviewed me as part of her Empowered Women series. And it's very clear to me now that she's gone on to recommend me again to the Author's Porch, that her values align with mine, and we can help and support each other from a distance, which is really beautiful. And I'm looking forward to interviewing her for my wellness school in a few weeks' time. So again, more magic. I'm wishing you a magical day. Friday this week, it's Lunar New Year. So I need to tidy my house, and I'm going to take my girls on a little holiday this weekend to welcome in the new year with some fun and relaxation, because I need it. Okay, so have a great rest of the week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care. Bye.